Wrapping up this morning's edition of News and Views, we're going to be turning our attention to a story I think that continues to weigh quite heavily on the conscience of the world, the ongoing war in Sudan. Last night, our colleague Shabnam Balisa Mohammed hosted a very, very powerful conversation with Sudanese journalist AlMigdad Hassan, which was essentially shedding light on the tragic 2023 Masalit Massacre and the continued unfolding humanitarian crisis in Al Fashir and in the rest of Sudan that's currently happening right now. Al Mighdad Hassan is a Sudanese journalist who's covering what's currently happening in Sudan, the war, the instability that has rocked that part of Africa. And yeah, if you missed it, we're going to be leaving you with a clip from that discussion, a very, very important reminder, an urgent reminder for justice and peace in Sudan and continued solidarity with the people of Sudan, the same way that we did with the people of Palestine. And as Africans, to remember that what's happening in Sudan ultimately will affect South Africa directly. We're on the same continent and we're all interconnected in one way or the other. But otherwise, from myself, Salalo Makwidiri, and the rest of the team, it's goodbye for now. We'll see you again tomorrow for the Thursday edition of News and Views. Shap, shap.
Contains two main belligerent Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces. But the Sudanese armed forces is the main army for the country, and the Rapid Support Forces working and support the main army. But on April 15, 2023, the war broke out inside the capital, engaging in brutal fighting between neighborhoods of civilians, between the presidential palace and main bases of the military. The Rapid Support Forces surrounded the main bases on the capital back that time and take over like 90% of the capital. And that is in the first year of this ongoing war. After that, the war become brutal and brutal. Many thousands have fled the capital, and many millions have fled the capital, and many states in the Khartoum state, in Al Jazeera state, and Sinai state, and many states in the country. So after that, the war engulfed in many regions in Sudan, like Kordofan region, Darfur region, which is the main stronghold for the Rapid Support Forces, and have like dominant there for their bases, for their fighters, for the border between Sudan and Chad, Sudan and Libya, and Sudan and Central Africa. So when we see right now that Darfur region being under full control by the Rapid Support Forces, that is for dominant there, like there are four bases or five bases for the military have taken over by the Rapid Support Forces on the past few months. And on the first month of this war, the Rapid Support Forces and the Sudanese Armed Forces, the battleground is the capital. Only on the capital Khartoum, it's a battleground for fighting. So after that, the Rapid Support Forces talk about having the power and surrounding the commander of the and commander in chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the sovereign state inside the capital. But when we look back at this brutal fighting inside the capital, the Sudanese army made advancement on September 2024. This an exact time when the Sudanese army make an advancement inside the capital Khartoum and inside the middle regions like Al Jazeera state, and regain control of the main bases in the capital and in the other region that have been controlled back that time by the Rapid Support Forces. And after that, after the first months of this ongoing year, the brutal fighting changed to another battleground, which is Darfur. But when we see that right now, Darfur, it's all over controlled by the Rapid Support Forces. the battleground right now in Kordofan states, which is separate between Darfur region and the capital Khartoum. So right now, the battleground for fighting is on Kordofan states, and definitely the humanitarian situations for millions have been fled their homes, like 13 million have been fled to neighboring countries, have been fled to many states controlled by the government and the army, because the basic necessities in the states controlled by by the army and the government is like good for living, good for having access to water, to basic necessities, to everything you need. And when we compare between the states that controlled by the Arabic support forces and the state controlled by the army and the government, there is no comparison, because when we need to go inside Darfur region, there is no go in and there is no go out, because the Arabic support forces, the Arabic support forces doesn't let you go in to do your work, to be as a journalist, to having access to aid and so on. The OCHA, which is organization led by the United Nations, said that the Arabic support forces block the aid from Tawila, which is the main city right now. People fled it Al Fashir toward Tawila. Tawila right now is blocked from aid, from life saving aid, and so on. And it's the brief what is going on here in Sudan.